I found it interesting that you said that, we have relationships that hurt us, but then to heal, we have other relationships. And you saying that makes me totally realize it, because I've been going through a couple things in the past year and a half or so. But how do you move back towards the relationships that hurt you, that you know that you loved and that were so important to you, and then that person decided to up and be selfish and do their own thing, and like how do you go back to that?
Yeah, like kind of mentally, emotionally.
Yeah, because like how do you move back towards like a divorced father and or even like a girl?
Yeah. I think it's a great question. I think it's one I'm trying to figure out in my own life. I think if I had to guess, I would think that the stuff you and I are not saying is probably similar. Because I think maybe a lot of life is about learning what we're supposed to let go of, and then learning what we're supposed to hold on and fight for. And the reality that there's seasons and those things change, And so I think maybe some of us or most of us can relate to that. What a crazy thing that the phone number in your phone that is the most important, that is your favorite number, that is dialed the most, that sometimes we go through this thing and a month later you delete that number, and it's like you can't get your head around that. You know what I mean? Like I know that I've experienced that. That's been a really painful thing for me, and yet I don't get to go back and reconcile that physically. I don't know that person anymore. You know what I mean? Like that person's not in my life anymore. And so I've had to come to terms with that, separate from her, And I think at first, and I'm totally telling my own little story, but I think at first you want to make all the speeches and say all the things and apologize, and you like search for redemption in that person, that person, if they'll just forgive me, if they'll just know me, And I think I had to learn that I wasn't going to go that way, So what does it mean? What does it look like to let go of that relationship? Like, what does it look like to try to be free? And I think for me, with that example, it was an identity thing. Like I wanted this girl to name me, Like I wanted this girl to tell me that I was okay, that I was a good guy, that I loved her, that I was attractive, I wanted this person to, I wanted what we had before, And then kind of coming to this place of that ending, and it was the hardest thing in the world to let go. I'm not saying this is kind of a tangent, but I think I've had to realize that community would be part of healing and moving past that. That other relationships, like you said, would be part of the process of just moving on in the next season. And I think it would apply to a lot of things. And I think the interesting thing is, I think you gave the example, like about a divorced father. I think there are relationships that will remain in our life, and that will continue to be part of our story. And I think there's other parts of our story that pages seem like they get kind of ripped out, and we have to make sense of that. And so I think that's such an interesting thing, is that there's people that hurt us that come back in our life, or maybe they're supposed to. And there's other people that maybe we hurt or hurt us, or things that happen, or maybe we just lose someone, and learning to live life, or to continue to live life without those people, And I don't know that there's any kind of formula, because I think I'm still trying to figure it out. But I think so much of it, the idea of community is relationships that would breathe life, like relationships that would speak truth, that would say, hey, you're a good guy, and these are the things that are true, and I'm going to remind you of these things, and I'm just going to remind you that you're not alone, and somehow that helps us walk through the stuff that's really difficult, or even just having someone that we can process these things with, to go, man, there's this thing in me that is stuck, there's this thing in me that I can't understand, and just having people that you can sit across from and talk about it, And I think then the reality that for me, I came to a place of just realizing some of those things were really intense, and they were beyond my friends, or they were just exhausting my friends, and that I needed to sit across from a counselor, which was something I had told everyone to do, but I've never done it myself. And then I think this really scary phone call, and what started out as like kind of the scariest hour of the week, really quickly began to feel like the most important hour of the week, where I would sit with someone who could just help me understand my story and help me process this stuff. And I think along the way realizing we ended up talking about things that I didn't even expect to talk about, things that didn't seem like they had anything to do with the thing that was obviously broken, you know. But why do I do this, and why have I always responded this way, and why do I still feel this way towards this person, you know? I don't know, I feel like I'm on a ramble, but
So like, when did you know that it was a time to stop fighting for that relationship? I mean,
yeah.
what drew the line for you that said, well, I can't fight for this anymore?
I think when, for me, it was kind of the girl saying, stop fighting for this relationship. You know? I didn't believe it. I thought she was, you know. So yeah, I think I think when it was just made really clear, like, by her and by other people, like, you have to let go of this. You have to stop fighting for this thing, and you have to begin to imagine your life without this person, you know? You have to begin to believe that you can be okay without this person. And ultimately, maybe that your identity is not found in this girl that you're in love with, you know, but that you can know life beyond that. And even, you know, the idea of me as how I claim to see the world, that I'm loved by God, that I was created to be in a relationship with God. If I really believe that, then I need to behave myself, and, you know, and I think then just trying to get to a place of, it's funny how time works, you know, like just how you might feel, the way I felt a year and a half ago, I couldn't have imagined feeling free and feeling healthy and feeling hopeful again, but just how maybe God uses time, or relationships happen in time, and healing and counseling, and just things can get better. You know? But I think too, it wasn't just me living in my head, but I think community is the idea that it's not left to you, but that you could have friends saying, hey man, it looks like this is what's going on. Or, hey, I know you, I love you, and this would be my advice. So it's not just me living in my head and you in your head, but us living in community and people speaking into our lives, and people that we come and say, I don't know what to do, you know? And I think there was things I felt like I needed to say to her, that I instead kept my buddy Byron up late, just, dude, oh, you know, and he was nice enough to stay up and do it. I don't know. I hope that helps. I think that's like the $1 million question. You can write a great book if you figure it out.